Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. Engineer Rashid, thank you very much for giving me the honor and pleasure of being part of this prestigious program and conference. I would like to really comment on the wonderful speeches and presentations that I received and I sat and enjoyed there from my previous colleagues, each one of them tackling the issue of sustainable development, but really from a different perspective. What I would like to talk about, and I wish I had known earlier, I would have followed Engineer Rashid's model of talking about the organization itself and how we inspire and advocate and make a difference. While talking about SIWA being the first entity or energy and water provider to have the ISO 50001, Emirates Environmental Group is the first environmental non-government organization in the world to be ISO 14001 certified in 2001. The message that comes out is that the UAE is providing the enabling environment for people to achieve and to excel and to do what needs to be done. I promise you, if there was no enabling environment, this would not have been achieved. That's why today UAE stands proud amongst its peers, Arab countries, in showing what work is being conducted, be it the government organizations, the non-government organizations, the private sector, or the society at large. The concept of sustainable development started fascinating me in the 1980s as I was a young mother working in the government with 4 children and wondering what kind of future do my children have and what kind of a planet will they be growing on or what will they be inheriting. So that's how I started looking at an area that I knew about because I was grown in that environment. The teachings of my parents, the inculcating of the right Islamic culture and teachings and practices of conservation of resources, and that we as human beings are custodians of this planet and we have a responsibility and we will be asked about what have we been doing. So I was practicing environment, but not in the modern Western way of understanding environment. It was part and parcel of our religion, of our culture, and our upbringing. So in the early 1990s, joined hands with a few of my colleagues from different countries and different cultures, and that's what UAE is all about. As Engineer Rashid mentioned, more than 200 nationalities coexisting very harmoniously. We started Emirates Environmental Group in 1991, and we started working on how do we develop and how do we really mobilize the masses to be part of the solution instead of part of the problem. When you look at how the global movement started with sustainable development, I think the first one started in actively starting and grabbing the attention of the global population was in 1992 with the Rio de Janeiro conference, whereby it declared that economic policies in individual countries and international economic relations both have great relevance to sustainable development. The reactivation and acceleration of development requires both a dynamic and a supportive international economic environment and a determined policies on the national level. It hasn't changed. It's really the same message. It's just the population of the world is increasing. The materialism is becoming more evident and more apparent, and it is not only on the multinational level, it's cascading to the individual level as well. So the message that we want to find out is how can you, mainly as business people, and I think this will be my message here, is how do we work together with the legislatures, the government organizations, with the doers, the NGOs, to really bring all this together and to ensure that we are all a powerful tool that can push and achieve the goals that have been set together. I will talk about sustainable development in the UAE and how the visionary leadership of this country has really set, and what are the mechanisms that are out there that is really propelling UAE to be amongst the leaders in sustainable development and ensuring that there's a prosperous future for all of us. It's a common sense that the societies will be much better off when they not only develop economic growth, but when they look at the social angle of it, and they look at the inclusiveness, as was mentioned in the morning, and how this growth can really contribute effectively into the reduction of poverty in the societies, in the different countries, and how do we bring forth a more equitable growth and development. Many development practitioners and policy makers, they center attention only on creating economic opportunities and thinking that that is the base of a social integration. But in reality, we need to have a much bigger and much more inclusive. So the Sustainable Development Agenda that was set by the United Nations and became mandatory in last year, 2016, when more than 193 countries signed up to it, and that is known as Sustainable Development Goals, which has already been shared with you this morning. It really calls for basic human requirements, and that should be that we should have an equal opportunities, we should work together in reducing poverty, and while we're doing that, we are really giving chances to to our fellow human beings in other parts of the world. So we really need to come up with new economic models, because that's the language that we understand. So how do we come up with these new economic models? And how do we find out mechanisms that can really promote and develop world growth, but in a sustainable manner? United Arab Emirates, alhamdulillah, has successfully positioned itself as one of the global financial leaders. The aspirations over the years has been that we have to translate these efforts into a unified platform, and we have to add a new dimension. We have a thriving economy, but we need to introduce a new angle to it so that it is diversified and we are not slaves to one direction only. And while doing that, we are not only looking at the numbers in our bank accounts and in our national GDP, but we are really looking collectively about the well-being of the society that forms the country. So, recognize that early on, that yes, we are an economy that is based on oil as one of our main sources of income. But world numbers, statistics, research is showing that as early as 2020, the oil peak would have reached. It means countries in the world would have reached the most ability to extract what is down there, and then it will be a terminal decline. So while that is declining, should that be, a sad opportunity for us to sit and ponder and cry about our long wasted or lost wealth? Or that should be really a platform of flying with new opportunities, and it should be a platform of opportunity, period. So for a country like UAE, where we are we were basically until a few years ago depending mainly on oil, and looking at that as a threat, or we look at that as an opportunity. And I think what His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed said, that in the year 2050, when we will ship, I'm not quoting him exactly how he said, but this is what comes into the structure, that when we ship the last barrel of oil from our shores, we will be happy because we would have already established other means of giving us that economic sustainability, that social prosperity, and that environmental productivity and sustainability.